Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Okay, the next video that I'm going to show you is just for educational purposes. It is not to expose sisters. It is not to talk bad about sisters. It is not to expose the Muslim women for their sins or their misbehavior. That's not the intention of this video. First of all, this video is available everywhere online, so it was done public. Second of all, these ladies were all public, right? Now you might ask, why are you showing this video? I'll tell you what I'm going to show you this video. This video is to understand a basic point. I'm going to make a basic point as to why the Sharia puts more stricter emphasis when it comes to rules and regulations for women. If you compare the rules and regulations that manage the dynamics, the social dynamics of a female in Islam versus the social dynamics, and just the dynamics in general, of a male in Islam, they are different, okay? There's a lot of reasons as to why, but this is one of them. If a woman is corrupt, a Muslim woman, then basically the society will be corrupt. Why? Well, because she is the foundation of the household when it comes to rearing children and the future of Islam. If men die in a war, in whatever man's left, you can still marry women. That's why there's also polygyny, because you can still marry women, and still you'll be able to inshallah raise the generation again. All right? If women die physically, spiritually, morally, then the ummah's done. The ummah is done. You have to understand that. And that is why Islam protects women much more. There's more stricter rules when it comes to women than for men. So let us look at the video. This is a video of a lot of sisters in the UK when one of the famous vloggers came, and I've showed this video in another one, but today I want to just specifically focus only on this video and their behavior and to understand this point. Again, disclaimer, if you don't like it, please don't watch it. If you're gonna be upset, please don't watch it. It's not my intention to expose women. These women were in public doing that, screaming and running and doing all these things. These are the daughters of some men. These are the sisters of some men. These might be the wives of some men, whatever. Brothers, Muslim, right? So, let's watch the video and then we'll comment, inshallah.
Oh my God! Have you get in there? Wait, what's going on? They're running after Adam, fam. Stay there, stay exactly there. Hey.
Alright, Bismillah. So you've seen the video. This is, I would say, in general, the male species, men, brothers, you're not gonna see, and I want you to think about this carefully. I want you to think about this very carefully. You're not gonna see hundreds of brothers with beards, like these sisters are with hijabs. Yeah, you can criticize their hijab and this and that, but that's not the point, to criticize their hijab or, oh, they're not good women, or they're not, no. These are a big group of women, some of them with their sisters, some of them even with their mothers, if you see it, okay? Coming to see this so-called famous guy. And I've talked about this, how, what women look for, what they get impressed with. And it's mostly about kind of like who the guy is, as in what he represents. So, you never see, I don't know if there's an exception, please do point it out, but you won't see like men doing this. A bunch of brothers, okay, big bunch of brothers with big beards running around the streets of London chasing some sister in hijab, that she's famous, so she's a vlogger or blogger or whatever. Have you seen that? Have you seen a bunch of brothers with topis on, kofiyas, or thobes or beards who'll be chasing some famous vlogger on the streets of whatever country or city? You will not see that. Men don't really behave like that. Yes, do they chase women? Yes, they do. Do they do this and that? Yes, they do. No doubt. Well, but that's not what I'm trying. If you don't understand my point, please just turn off the video. My point is, there's this, women tend to misbehave when there's this diffusion of responsibility. When there's a bigger group, they do tend to misbehave. And that's why, there's the dynamics of the social interactions of females have to be controlled. The whole concept of a wali, the whole concept, why can't I just go out with my friends? Because it's not that you're bad, but you can easily be influenced because of the way you are as a female. By other one or two or three. So there can be a group of many sisters that you can see in this video, influenced by a concept here. They're influenced probably someone who kicked it off and started screaming and running and chasing this guy, and then all of them just followed. Are they bad women? Allahu alam, no one says they're bad. I'm sure these sisters pray. I mean, they're wearing hijab to an extent. They all look like, they're from different, by the way, you can hear, you eliminate, that they're only this culture, or that they're only this. No. You can see that there's a wide variety of different cultures, different nationalities and ethnicities, Muslims, chasing this guy, screaming their heads off because they're so infatuated with him. Please point out to me where brothers with beards and those will be chasing a woman on the streets of London or California or whatever because she's famous or something like that. Men don't behave like that. Is there the whole diffusion of responsibility within men as well? Yes, there is. But here what I'm trying to say, I'm making a point about why the Sharia is strict when it comes to females, or when it comes to how females have to behave and why they have a wali, for example, and who protects them, they cannot just go do whatever they want whenever they feel like it, and why men can go out and kind of do things without necessarily having to have the allowance of a wali. All right, so that's my point. A lot of times we don't understand. We think, oh, it's not fair. No, it is fair, because it's about the way we are, our fitra. Females are easier to push and to basically, with this diffusion of responsibility, especially when they're in a group, in this group mentality, to easily lose themselves, even if they're praying and fasting and this and that. Okay, are there bad men? Can men do this as well? Yes, but it's not as often. Is this an exhaustive argument? No, it's just a comprehensive idea, what I'm trying to show you just from this one video, just to reiterate why. Because a lot of sisters say the Sharia is not fair. Why do you see now movements trying to get rid of the wali? In many countries, they're trying to say women can do this without the men, can do that. I know sisters now are going to say, what about if I don't have a man? Oh, I don't have a man, there's no real man. I understand. I'm not talking about, I'm talking about here. If you can see, most of these women are daughters of some men, some Muslim men. They have walis, they have fathers, they have, inshallah, most of them. They look like they're from families. Allah knows best. I'm not talking about the sister who's been left, divorced, she's alone, she has to take care of herself, she has to do this, and that's not what I'm talking about. That's the responsibility of the community anyway, by the way, to take care of them. Right? I'm going to talk about, because there's a lot, again, women ask and men ask, when we have problems, like, especially women, how come we get left alone? No one takes care of us. If we get divorced, no one takes care of us. Well, this is not fair. Guys can just dump us. No, it's not like that. Sadly, it's a problem that we're not in the right system. All right, so back again to the main point is that women need more censorship. They need more protection. They need more rules and regulations, and the Sharia gives that. Men don't have to wear hijab. Yeah, they have to cover this and that, but in general, as agreed by the ulama, they don't have to wear hijab or necessarily cover their hair or anything. Women have to. Men don't have to leave the house without the permission. Men can leave the house without the permission of a wali. Women cannot. Okay, men can marry themselves without the permission of wali. Okay, women cannot, except there's some difference of opinion on certain issues, but that's a different story. There's many things that women cannot do, and it's not about, like, for example, can she buy and sell? Yeah, she's got her own money. No one can touch it. Father, brother, no one has the right to deal with that, right? Can she, for example, say who she's gonna marry, choose? Yes, no one can force her or tell her. Do you see? It's not about like, oh, it's not fair, we don't get to do anything, we're slaves. No, it has to do with something within their fitra. right? So daughter comes, says, I want to go with my 10 friends. They're good women. Oh, we're all wearing hijab, right? And it's like, wait, where are you going? Well, here and there alone. We don't need the... It's like, why? Because there's a possibility of something like this guy coming about and a big group of women just losing it. Don't misunderstand me. I'm just trying to highlight an issue. What is the issue again? Why the Sharia is more stricter on the females and a bit more lenient on the men. All right, we have other responsibilities, no doubt, and other things we have to do. But here I'm just making a point. I'm just using one example of this. So don't think that this is it. Oh my God, Brother Jibril speaking out on these sisters. No, I just used you one example of what's called diffusion responsibility in psychology, and of how women usually misbehave if they get caught up in this phenomenon. If, okay, of course, I'm not talking about you sister watching this video who's getting angry right now and saying, I'm not like that. I understand, okay? Are all women like that? No, I'm not saying that. But you can see here a huge group, a huge sample population, a huge, right? Just chasing this guy. You can see if there was like 10 of them, 15 of them, hey, 100 of them. And then the rest, few hundred, would just be sitting and say, hey sisters, fear Allah. How can you chase this man, this guy who is, you know, a joker kind of in many cases? How can you do that, right? Fear Allah. Let's remind ourselves with Allah. Then I would say, hey man, you know, it's just a few women who have, you know, come from, you know, not so good families, or they have problems, or this and that. But that's not what it is here. What you can see by the big number of sisters and how fast this event took place, and I'm very aware of where it took place, when it took place. Okay, you can see that, subhanAllah, the diffusion responsibility spread so fast that basically pretty much the whole group, maybe a few exceptions here and there, just followed this trend. All right, this gives you a good insight into psychology of the Muslim woman. If she's not careful, it's not that she's a bad woman, but it's easier to push her to kind of like let loose, just let loose. And I can show you other videos that are a bit more graphic, but that have been sent to me. But I think it's not, you know, people cannot really handle it, and they might say that I'm picking on it. This one, because there's so many people that I think it drives a point. Again, my video, and I'm sorry that it's becoming long, but I need to keep repeating because people lose their mind when I talk about these things and they miss the point. The objective of this video is to understand diffusion responsibility within females, how they react in this group think, how they can misbehave, why is an importance of Sharia of putting more stricter rules when it comes to controlling women, because they're so important. And if they become corrupt and they act corrupt, then the ummah is lost, because they are the ones that have this beautiful responsibility and beautiful accountability to raise and nurture human souls. And if they're not intact and protected and ethical, then of course their families will not be. Yes, men have their responsibility, but today we are talking about this issue. Barakallahu fikum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.